Hey guys, MartyBoots here. Today I've got a slightly different video for you. Um, I have been posting in the group in our live trading room about how this is the most important chart on the entire planet. Now, I've been posting this for quite a while in our group. If you want to check those posts out and stuff, you can check the link in the description below. Um, but this is the XLE chart, and it is the energy sector chart, and it really looks primed to start going parabolic. Now, this, don't get me wrong, this is a monthly chart, and you can see here these are 2 week charts, and this is a monthly chart here. Okay, so it can take quite a few years to propel itself into to absolutely moon to the upside, but this chart is primed. This is a 20-year base in here, right? It's a 20-year base. You can see when the SPX 500, S&P 500 had a 20-year base or whatever it was. It was primed, and look at the moving averages underneath, and look at them all curling underneath here, curling underneath here, and curling underneath here as you're at the breakout point. And then, I've posted this months ago when we were down here, but we are now up through the trend line and about to break out. This is massive, massive, massive implications for the entire world. Now, one of the without even getting to Bitcoin yet, you can see the Bitcoin moon up here. Without even getting to Bitcoin or crypto yet, the implications for the entire world are huge, astronomical, all throughout the world. Rising oil and gas, fossil fuel prices and stuff. Of course, there can be different types of energy like solar and all the rest, wind and solar, but it is suggesting that there will be a reliance continued for the next 10 years or whatever it is on oil and gas as a primary. Now, of course, we're moving away from that with electric cars and all the rest, but even those still take X amount of fossil fuels or whatever else to build. And this is one of the first points I want to talk about. Like oil and gas and everything affects everything on the planet. Your computer screen and your phone that you're working there right now, you needed oil and gas to build those in the manufacturing processes, and that is going to reach out to almost everything you look around in your room, be it your glass, your windows, your metal, your computers, your phone, your headphones, your Apple AirPods, whatever you name it, your cup of coffee. Energy prices related to that in the manufacturing processes at some point. So energy sector going parabolic, which I believe is going to happen. I believe we're about to go parabolic in the energy sector. Rising energy sectors is going to create a massive inflationary pressure all over the world. Every one of your goods that need production, which is going to use some sort of energy, which is going to use fossil fuels, oil and gas, and either in the transport of it or in the manufacturing process or whatever, it is going to substantially increase the cost of everything. Everything. Basically everything. There's going to be an inflationary pressure on the world for the next 10 years. Now, not only is the inflationary pressure going to be put on the world because of the money printing and all the rest, but the energy market, you just need to look here. Look at the COVID crash, right? Bitcoin was down at $4,000 here, right? And it has gone up since. And the cost to create a Bitcoin is called the floor price, right? And that will have an effect. I'll get into that now in a while. I'll get into that shortly. But the floor price of the energy market will continue to raise the price in the Bitcoin price. Not even accounting for what most people think about is printing money and all that sort of stuff and a store of wealth. The cost of production is one of the most important things. So not only is it going to have a tremendous inflationary pressure on every single good and, well, I don't know about services, potential services as well, depending on what they are. It's going to raise the price of everything on the entire planet. It is also, why are these wars happening between Ukraine and Russia and America and all that sort of stuff in the wars? It is to control the energy prices, because if this is going to break out, these countries with the control of these energy, especially the easier to get energy prices or energy goods, is going to have a massive advantage if this is going to go parabolic. Okay, so apart from the inflationary factors. Now, inflation also causes the rise in asset prices, right? So there is going to be monumental wealth created. If you understand this right now, there's monumental wealth going to be created in the energy sector. Now, I've made videos in our live trading room in Discord, for members, and I've made posts about it very recently about how Tesla is going to go parabolic. Tesla is only starting. Everybody thinks Tesla's maybe one of the most expensive companies in the world. That is only starting. That chart to me looks absolutely primed. In 10 years time, for example, it's going to be a more parabolic, higher than it's already gone parabolic, but it's going to go even more parabolic, and people will be shocked by that. People don't understand. But for me, that chart is primed to go higher, and it's not just that. The energy sector stocks are all going to go parabolic, and they're all going to go continue higher. If this is going to break out the way I think it's going to break out, well, they're all that. That's a huge sector to have your money in for the next 10 years. So that is going to be very, very important going forward. I mean, it goes without saying about the geopolitical implications. These countries are already scrambling to get as much resources as they can, because it is going to give them significant leverage going forward. So yeah, I mean, we don't really need to talk about that. I think we all understand how important that is. Now, the high energy prices. If you remember back, Europe was going through an astronomical energy price rise, and that was in this rise here. Well, in the last few years, in the last 2 or 3 years, the whole of Europe and probably the whole of the world had that energy crisis for a period of time. That is nothing. That is only getting people started and warmed up for what is to come. If this XLE breaks out and goes parabolic, it's going to significantly impact the lower class that are already maybe struggling to pay their energy bills. And there's going to be big changes on that. I mean, because in my view, there's no way to keep this down. It's going to be very hard to keep this down, and people need to expect higher energy costs all around the world as more people, start flooding Europe from maybe Africa and all that, all the immigration and all that sort of stuff. It is going to continue to increase the cost of everything, really, and especially these energy prices. Obviously, not just coming from Africa and stuff, but from all over the world, from the Middle East, from the war-stricken countries, and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's going to have massive implications and help this break out to the upside. With that said about immigration and stuff, if this is going parabolic, it's going to create massive amount of new jobs in the energy sector, all throughout the energy sector. So it's not just negatives. There will be positives coming out of this also. But because of energy is so important in every single aspect of life, if your transport, you're getting to work, your lights, your phones, your earphones, your computer screens, your telephones, it will affect every single person on this planet. It will affect every single aspect of the economy and all that sort of stuff. So this is why this is the most important chart on the planet right now. We'll say way more important than Bitcoin, but we're just getting to the implications for Bitcoin as well, because it is going to have massive effects on the Bitcoin price. Now, energy is the single largest contributing factor for the Bitcoin price. If this is going to continue to rise, it is likely that the smaller miners will get forced out of the market, and it will be more of the larger miners that are going to take over and kind of control the market, corner the market. Miners might be forced to move to places where there's cheaper energy, like cooler climates, maybe Iceland or whatever. So, as far as Bitcoin goes, the cost of mining Bitcoin is usually the floor price for Bitcoin, because miners do not want to sell below that cost of mining. Now, I probably should have a Bitcoin chart up here, but I don't have one actually right now. This chart is a replacement for the Bitcoin chart right now. But the mining cost, now I don't know the exact cost. It's in the 40,000s from memory at the moment for the floor price for Bitcoin. So miners do not want to sell below the floor price. And if they are not going to sell below that, they're going to wait until the price moves back above the floor price. This can have bullish implications on the market, because it restricts the amount of supply of Bitcoin on the market below the price. below the floor price. And as this keeps going higher and higher and higher and higher, miners will be less willing to sell below the floor price. So if this chart goes parabolic, the floor price for Bitcoin also goes parabolic, and this will restrict the supply below the floor price of Bitcoin. So continued upward pressure because of the cost of the mining. That is not even talking about the cost of the money printing around the world, that inflation causes the rise in price in Bitcoin. So as this goes higher with the increase in the printing money around the world, the doubling factor of that is going to continue to send the price of Bitcoin to the moon, literally. And people thinking that $1 million Bitcoin is out of the question, they don't understand the fundamentals behind the whole situation. When the mining costs, because of electricity, rise, historically it has shown that the price of Bitcoin adjusts sharply to the upside to accommodate for this, the mining, to accommodate for the increase in costs, production costs, which is the floor price. Now, as this goes higher, the smaller companies will be forced to shut down. This also creates less supply on the market. Allowing for less supply means that the price will go higher. There is, there's less Bitcoin sloshing about in the market, which creates more demand, or at least creates that temporary period where, how do you want to say it, that there is, or it becomes, a scarce asset. Bitcoin is kind of known for a scarce asset because of the 21 million fixed supply. It kind of reinforces that there's less Bitcoin onto the market, and it becomes a scarce asset. It all helps contribute to the demand supply imbalance. And we all know, we've been watching MicroStrategy, BlackRock, banks, institutions, hedge funds, governments. They're all kind of trying to get on the Bitcoin boat, and over time, this is going to continue to, reduce the supply on the market as this demand increases. So, for example, if the price now is 45,000 for the floor price for production, well, miners are not going to want to sell below that. So the price will drop back. That floor price will be support at 45,000. But in a few years' time, what happens if it is 80,000, 90,000, 100,000 for the floor price for creating a Bitcoin? Well, price is not going to want to drop below that 80, 90, $100,000. That will become the new real support, because miners are not going to sell below that. And that'll keep adjusting upwards as long as this chart keeps adjusting upwards. And of course, we know all the other factors about the printing money and the hedge against inflation narrative and all that sort of stuff. Digital gold, right? But you just look at these charts here, and it is suggesting that the XLE, the energy sector, is about to break out massively to the upside. Now, just say this takes 10 years to play out, for example, the halving, we've not even talked about the halving yet. That's going to cut supply in half. Just say it takes 10 years. Well, that's another 2 halvings are going to be involved in this cycle. Now, I don't know if it's going to be 10 years or not. It's just a ballpark figure I'm throwing out there. You can see that this, from here, 2016, and we are now into 2025. So, that's JP Morgan is almost a 10-year time frame. Now, I posted about JP Morgan down here is going to go parabolic, and here we are today in one of my old videos. What was I saying now? Yes, the halving. Okay, so there's 2 halvings going to be involved in this, and we know what happens in Bitcoin halvings. We are going through one right now. We just had the halving. You get the drop after the halving, and then the price starts to take off to the upside like it has every other halving. So we will have 2 halvings in that period while energy prices is rising, and continued money printing most likely. And also, it's very important to understand this. This rising sharply causes inflation. It causes massive inflation, right? Look at the inflation that was caused here. Remember the inflation that was caused here from 2000 to 2008 as well. Those periods with rising costs. It's because energy costs create rising costs in production, in manufacturing, and in transport. Now, there may be negatives for the Bitcoin market in the fact that small investors will not be able to mine anymore. There will be a dominance, so to speak, in institutional miners, and we're already seeing that. Like it shouldn't be a shock to anybody. We're already seeing that BlackRock is now in the industry and all that sort of stuff, and Tether is mining, and all of that sort of stuff. The small investor is definitely getting pushed out already, and we have not even broke out yet. You wait till we break out, and you will see that dominance increasing. Institutional investors will be controlling this market. If Bitcoin's nearly at $100,000, but if the production cost and the floor price continues to rise to potentially $100,000, for example, it's going to increase the narrative of digital gold, because gold is now sitting at $2,500 or whatever it's at. The Bitcoin price is at $100,000. That digital gold narrative is well underway. But if Bitcoin keeps rising, in which it should keep rising, the fundamentals and everything else are really behind it, well, then that digital gold narrative is going to continue to increase. And there'll be going to be more and more people wanting to get on board the market as this continues to go higher. This is suggesting the Bitcoin price is only starting and has a long way to go. If these costs continue to rise, the energy costs continue to rise, then the Bitcoin price is only really starting. And people may think it's actually topping out. It's suggesting any real dips, are massive buying opportunities in the Bitcoin price, because these Bitcoin miners will need to sell above the floor price, the manufacturing price, to maintain profitability. They need to make money as well. So they're not going to be selling and going bankrupt below it, especially the larger institutions. Of course, it's going to continue to wipe out the small mining companies, but these larger guys are going to continue to hold their Bitcoin and allow for price to get back above and continue to go higher and higher and higher. So anyway, guys, 16 minutes is a longer video than I thought. I knew it wouldn't be short, but it is a different type of video. It is a long-term macro video on a. It is a buy alert on the energy sector. This looks to me like it's going to go higher, in my opinion. Companies like Tesla and some of the oil and gas companies, and all over the long term, are going to go way higher. It is also a macro view on Bitcoin. It's a fundamental view on Bitcoin in a way as well, but it's also a macro view, suggesting if you do see dips on Bitcoin, or large dips on Bitcoin, and if we're lucky enough to get a bear market, these energy prices, it is suggesting that they will be snapped up really quickly going forward. So it is good to keep this in mind. This, in my opinion, the XLE, the energy sector, is the most important chart on the planet. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. First off, if you want more videos like this, if you want some buy and sell alerts, if you want a group with a fantastic community and all that, come on in, check us out. The link is below in the description. And I hope you had a great weekend, and I will see you in the live trading room.